Alright, day one of the major has officially come and went. I sure do hope our pick'ems haven't immediately gone up in smoke, right fellas? Right guys? Anyways, we are now into the thick of it. Shout out to KSI. It's the elimination stage. Every single game matters. Yes, there were roughly 1,000 best of ones last night. Yes, my sleep schedule is in tatters. And yes, I am here to recap it all to you guys. Daily recaps till the end of the major, unless I collapse suddenly at my desk, and even then, I'll find a way to do it from the grave. Are the Mongolz peaking at the right time? Will one of the heavy favorites like NAVI or G2 collapse out of nowhere? And will the Brazilians stop ruining all of my picks? There's plenty to go over. Let's not waste any more time. Make sure you guys leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps out immensely in the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you're watching this video, I am going to be live as soon as the game starts tonight, co-streaming the major. Come drop on by, drop me a follow. It's been a lot of fun. Without any further ado, let's start getting into all these best of ones. And there is no better place to start than arguably one of the best maps of the entire major cycle, and that's the Mongolz taking on G2. And the first place that I have to go to here is I told you so. All of you, people in my Discord, people in my Twitch chat, people in my comments, you all doubted me for not putting G2 3-0. Well, guess what? Where's your pick'ems today, dickhead? Probably ruined just like mine, more on that in just a little bit. But I told you guys that G2 are definitely the favorites to get to a finals and potentially win this major. However, G2 were also the perfect team to lose a best of one, and what do? The first game, they get run over by the Mongolz. Now I know, you're looking at that scoreline, 13-10, seems like a close game. No, not so. Once you dig a little deeper, you will see that the Mongolz were in control of the momentum, the pace, and were running over G2 for most of this map. I don't know what the Mongolz are on right now. They are quickly elevating to contender levels of success. 12 straight maps during the major cycle without a loss, and they looked unstoppable at points versus G2. And it came from just their incredibly ballsy and aggressive playstyle. The first place to start is this incredible 2v5 T-side B take by 910 and Mizzino, where it looked like Nico had effectively shot them out of this round. The early picks through the smoke, the grenade to finish off Techno, there's no room to operate, no utility, they're smoked up on Banana, and for some reason 910 just says, yeah, you know, f*** saving, I'm just gonna send it. Boosts over the top of the smoke like it's an insane intentional one-way, gets the first shot, swings over the graveyard, gets the second, as Mizzino swings CT for the third kill. Suddenly that 5v2 advantage has melted into a 2v2 post plant, and there's no room for G2 to operate. Mizzino and 910 shine to win a round they should never be able to win. And that was just the vibe of this entire match. It was more of a brawl than it was Counter-Strike, a straight up junkyard dogfight where both teams were perfectly content just throwing blow after blow, but Mongolz were just hitting a little better, hitting a little straighter. Senzu had an insane first half with 14 kills, leading the charge. He looked absolutely lethal. The most interesting thing from an analysis perspective to me is that m0NESY walks away from this with a pretty good box score, but if you watch the game, it really felt like he didn't have much impact until the very end. And honestly, that was the case in both halves. And had the Mongolz not kind of slipped up towards the middle of their second half CT defense, I think the score would have been a lot more severe. There's one very clear mistake that happened on Mongolz CT defense that made the difference between this being like a 13-8 and ended up being a 13-10 instead, and that was this anti-eco defense early on. And like I said, Senzu had a great game, but he just missed, straight up whiffed this M4 spray. Gave Nico an opportunity, which giving him daylight at all, big mistake. And what should have been Mongol's 10th round, a successful anti-eco defense, turns into a Nico 4K, and G2 can get some momentum going on their T side. Now, to be fair to the Mongolz, they did lock it down after a couple rounds, managed to get match point relatively early on. The funniest part to me about the end of this game is that both teams kind of just gave up trying anything approaching strategy. Like, once the Mongolz hit match point, they started running it down, trying to end the game in the most merciless way possible, and G2 just sat around corners and punished them for it. The Mongolz looked out of place trying to finish that game, but somehow, in classic G2 fashion, they had an absolutely disastrous final round of the game. Snacks, at the peak of what IGLing is meant to be, calls this brilliant strategy where they decide to just wait the entire round without baiting out any utility from the Mongolz. The Mongolz are nearly economically broken. They've forced up to prevent G2 from getting an 11th round. If G2 wins this round, they are virtually guaranteed overtime. The Mongolz do not have the amount of utility that you would need or want on the Inferno defense, and G2 does absolutely all to bait any of it out, to the point that the Mongolz were able to stack 3 late smokes into B, prevent the B push from G2, force them back into a terrible late A hit with 30 seconds left on the clock. Mazzino's already cleared apartments, so he's in Boiler at the perfect spot. He spoils the 5-man rush through Boiler. And listen, Muncie looks like he's going to clutch this. Those flicks were hitting real hard, but at the end of the day, the 2v2 retake fails for G2. They go down, they lose the map. But man, what the hell were they trying to do at the end of this game? It was so hilariously bad. Above all else, rip G2 3-0 predictions. Mongolz look like a real contender right now. Okay, good. 1 game out of the way, 17 more to go. How much time did I waste? Oh god, we're already 6 minutes in. Alright, forgive me. We're going to be a little bit quicker from here on, unless it's a really important game. Our second match of the elimination stage was NAVI taking on Liquid. This was a relatively close affair. Liquid had a really strong start to the game, going 7-5 on their T side against NAVI. NAF had a great bounce back game after a very, very poor performance in the opening stage. And that NAF impact was sorely missed back then, as it really helps out with their T side so much. His ability to lurk around the map is so valuable. Twist also had a great game. But Liquid went into the second half with a lead, but could not defend a bomb site to save their life. NAVI had an incredible second half comeback where they had no less than 7 bomb plant winning rounds, where Liquid were unable to initiate a retake, including 4 straight on the route to victory late in the half. And considering JL had a pretty miserable start to his major, that's pretty impressive stuff from NAVI. Liquid just fell apart on their defense. Wonderful ends with 24 kills, but take that with a grain of salt, as Wonderful had 10 of those in literally the first 3 rounds, so his numbers were a tiny bit inflated. The MVPs for NAVI here were really Bit and Emma, who stepped up in a huge way, especially down the stretch of the second half. All in all, not a surprising result, though I thought NAVI would handle Liquid a little bit quicker than they did. Speaking of handling things quickly, Vitality smoked GamerLegion on Mirage 13-7. No way around it, GamerLegion had been on a great underdog run through the RMRs in the opening stage, but Vitality were just too tall a task on this day. ZywOo just looked unbothered, unburdened, totally moisturized and in his own lane, going for 24 and 9 with a 1.9 rating to open up his major campaign, looking for that Player of the Year award. The only real highlight for GamerLegion along the way was Flammus having an incredible 4K clutch in the post plant on B, but other than that, ZywOo, Flames, Spinks, even Apex were just too much for this team to handle, sending the GamerLegion down to the lower bracket early, while Vitality looks like one of the strongest contenders to go 3-0 in this bracket. After that, we had Spirit getting absolutely humiliated by Furia on Dust 2. And, yeah, so hey, do me a favor and cut the Pokemon music here, and then go into the music folder. You're looking for the Pain theme. Do me a favor and put that on, okay? Alright, great. Oh, Team Spirit, what are we doing? We have Donk out here playing 1v9 in the major. Every single person not named Donk was a fraud in this match. Zontix, I'm usually your biggest defender. You were ass. Shiro, totally missing, getting decimated by Fallen's corpse in mid with the op, and Chopper and Magix. Please, I hope you are no longer on this team as soon as this major is over. Chopper, I don't even know what you do as an in-game leader, because there sure as hell aren't a whole lot of tactics going on, and these defensive setups make me want to jump off a bridge in Minecraft. And listen, yes, Furia were on a heater. Queserato looks like a completely different player than the opening stage. Skulls continues to be incredible. Cello went goddamn Super Saiyan for most of the first half, including the pistol round on the second half. Looks like he couldn't miss a goddamn shot if he tried. Furia didn't even do anything remarkable except walk at bomb sites, click heads, and there was nobody other than goddamn Donk who could do anything to absolutely stop it. And even then, Donk couldn't do much because Furia was very, very good at making sure Donk couldn't multi-kill at all on the first half. But at the same time, why, Chopper and or the coach of Team Spirit, are we stashing Donk away on the B site instead of having him play A or Cat or one of the rotator roles. No, you're going to stash him on B next to Zontix, where if there's any chance that A site falls with Chopper and Magix on it by themselves with Shiro fighting for his life, then Donk can never get involved in the post-plan situation. It's ass. And listen, I love Donk. He's my player of the year. But Donk, please, 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 do not double op ever again. Yeah, you can hit those shots, but why in the fuck are we going into a round with Donk going lower tunnels with an op in his hands instead of with a goddamn AK when he's one of the best riflers in the fucking world? And listen, I know Donk's name isn't Dimple, he's not a hybrid. It's just, it's ass, it's ass, it's ass, it's ass. Why are we double opping? Why? Why? Why would you do that to me, Spirit? Why? Spirit got ran over. There's no other way to put it. What a shit game. Next, we got ourselves another completely one-sided affair. Mouz dominate Pain 13-6 on Nuke. Listen, Pain are one of the more fun Nuke teams to watch in the world, but Lux and Snow, who have been playing very well lately, especially through the RMRs in the opening stage, were completely missing. Big Azera was trying his best with the calling, but it was an absolute steel cage on the CT side for Mouz, and Pain could not get through it to save their lives. Mouz were in total control, even though Zershin was honestly missing, which is pretty worrying for later on in the tournament, but Jimmy, Shuhei, Brolin, Torji, they all did their work. Very one-sided affair. Next up, another pretty entertaining game. We had Faze taking on WildCard on Ancient, and Stanislaw gave Faze a run for their money. It's very interesting on a metagame level because Stanislaw and Kerrigan are very much one and the same in terms of their in-game leading style, both very well known for their ability to veto and get in the demos and really anti-strat their opponents. But at the end of the day, as much as I have been Stan's #1 Stan throughout the major cycle, Kerrigan's the GOAT. So kind of getting outperformed there in terms of the Megamind strategies. And in terms of the individuals, guys, I don't know what to say, but Rain at Majors, he always turns into a superstar. I really would like to do a video at some point after the major cycle and go through Rain's stats at every major he's competed in. He's competed in a lot of them, but it feels like Rain never turns in a bad performance in these kinds of tournaments. He goes 25-8 with a 1.98 rating here. Robs had great impact, Frozen had great impact, Brokey continues to be a mid-opper at best, but all that combined to be enough to deal with WildCard. And honestly, it was a close thing, because WildCard had a great start to the game on their T side going 7-5. Unfortunately, their CT side seemed unable to hold off the Faze attacks, and that's what cost them in the end. But I do want to highlight one good thing about WildCard on the way out. I love some of their set strats. The way they are layering utility on some of their T-side takes is some of the most interesting stuff that I'm seeing out of the top teams right now. Take, for example, this A take here, where the plan is a fast A hit, and with how most teams sub their defense, A is often left undefended early on in the round, so it makes a lot of sense. But I love how the utility is spread here. They go for a fast donut smoke that lands in the front-facing entrance to the bomb site. That allows them to focus on temple and backside and CT, but as they take the site, Stanislaw hangs back outside of A main and throws yet another set smoke for donut that lands deep in the mid-side entrance of donut to layer behind the first smoke. This times it out so that as the first smoke is starting to fade, there's already another smoke behind it that holds the donut players back from pushing. This essentially keeps donut smoked for double the length it would have if smokes were thrown individually, allowing more time to come off of the bomb before Faze can attempt to retake. And now listen, Faze do nearly win that retake, but that timer was a big reason why they didn't have enough in the tank to be able to win it. Just really cool layering of utility. A lot of the top teams are doing this, but Stanislaw and WildCard are some of the best at it, and I wanted to highlight that. Next up, our second to last game of the first round, we had Heroic taking on Big. And listen, this was a great first half from Big, keeping Heroic to just 6 CT rounds. They had some great T-side takes, some awesome clutch play out of Crimbo with the Deagle early on especially, though Dexter did fire back a few rounds later with the op in his hands, more on him in just a minute. But as soon as we swap sides, get on that T-side for Heroic, they prove that they are a different caliber of team than Big straight up. Their T-side breezed through the Big defense, 7 rounds to Big's only 1 right back. Tessus and Nerds especially just had a field day dismantling what Big were trying to do. It was a very one-sided affair. Honestly, a only okay game from Dexter, but his moments of impact definitely outshine more than the numbers. He had a great 10 kill opening half on the CT side defense. He had an incredible triple kill on the A side solo hold behind triple box. Very good stuff from him. I hope Dexter continues to be consistent like he has been lately, because then Heroic actually become a great dark horse team in their own right, which is why I have them going through in the playoffs in my pick'ems. And our last game in round 1 was between 3D Max and MiBR. And listen, if you watch this game should not have been this close. MiBR were coasting, absolutely roasting and toasting 3D Max, and one little bitty error in the second half made this game way scarier than it had to be. Now it starts off innocent enough. We're here early on in the second half, 9-4 scoreline. MiBR are going to execute a great B-side take. Drop is going to destroy the entries, and very quickly 3D Max are going to look to save what guns they have left. The bomb is going to go down. 4 MiBR players are alive to the 2 from 3D Max. Now listen, there is definitely a lot of sense on paper here to try and hunt out these last couple of guns that 3D Max are holding on to, because they're not going to be able to buy up into the next round and you don't want things to get hairy. However, what you shouldn't do as MiBR is push literally everybody on the team in this effort to try and weed out these guns. Because, Lucky gets 3 kills here, gets to bring an AK into next round. He has all that extra money from the MP9 kills you gave up. Your economy is now hurt much more than it otherwise should have been, and emboldens 3D Max to go for another force buy. And disaster sets in, because Exercise, with that stolen AK that they otherwise would not have had, gets a triple kill on the A site late in the round that puts 3D Max instantly back into the game. And this spirals out the economy for MiBR in such a way that they start choking out more rounds. And suddenly what was a 4-10 scoreline that should have been 4-11 now becomes, 9-10, 10-10. And now 3D Max are threatening to win the game. Now listen, credit to 3D Max because they played a fantastic CT side around this opportunity. They did exactly what they needed to do. Insani went missing, which definitely hurt MiBR a lot, and Lucchese had a handful of attempts that could have been sick clutches if he didn't get very unlucky or have bad positioning at the end of them. Listen, ultimately, MiBR turned it around to win the last couple of rounds very convincingly when they realized they were very nearly looking at overtime, but it is funny to see how just one simple error turned what should have been a stomp into nearly a loss. That's just how thin the margins are in professional Counter-Strike sometimes. Alright, here we are, round 2 of the best of ones. We have reseeded the bracket, our new matchups are here. I'm going to once again kind of go fast through the less interesting games just for the sake of brevity. We open up the second round with Liquid taking on GamerLegion on Inferno, where Liquid author up a great win off the back of an honestly very good game from Yakindar, Ultimate, and NAF. And yeah, Yakindar at the front of the scoreboard with a good rating, a good KD, and a great T-side where his entries of banana didn't make me want to clobber him with a banana. I mean, this was peak textbook what an entry is supposed to do. Yakindar would get a banana, get 1 kill, and even if he died, he pretty much got traded out right away every time. And all of this culminated in a 6-round streak where Liquid got the bomb down and won the round, absolutely running circles around GamerLegion. GL just looked noticeably flatter than they had at pretty much any other point in this major cycle. Flamus, Slend, and Towson especially had pretty bad performances, especially on the second half, and it looked like GamerLegion just had no firepower to compete with what Liquid was putting on the table, which is why they've now fallen down 0-2 when are looking at elimination, while Liquid stays alive to fight another day. Moving on to our next match. God damn it, they nearly did it again. Furia nearly ruined everyone else's brackets by taking Vitality to overtime on Mirage, but Vitality kept together, suffered the windstorm that was Queserado, and took a victory 16-13, moving them into contention to exit the opening stage 3-0. Now listen, I'm going to give full credit to Furia here because they played fantastically throughout this game, and had Zywoo not metamorphed back into the best player in the world at the very end, there's a very strong argument that Furia would have walked away with this game in like a 13-11 upset of the year potentially. First things first, I would be doing a disservice to you as a YouTuber to not show you this Queserado ace. This is like gotta be like ace of the year, right? Or at least a contender. Yeah, sure, recency bias. But this is one of the best aces I've seen in quite a few years, to be honest with you, and it's very fitting to me that Queserado had this excellent play in B Apartments on Mirage, because Brazilians seem to love to break everybody's hearts in that exact location, especially in majors. But I mean, this was sick. This was just a dope play, And Caserado has had 2 games so far in the elimination stage where he's looked really incredibly as an individual, and that's dope to see because he was wretched previously. So, what ultimately failed for Furia down the stretch? Well, they got match point, 12-10, and they were in a great position where they were ready to break Vitality's economy. The problem is, in that match point clinching round, they allowed Flamey to work his way through window, pick up an op, and get out to apartments and save it. And here's the thing, there's this guy on Vitality, you might have heard of him. People might say he's the best player of the year, and he's really good with the op, actually. Or so I'm told. Anyways, Vitality come into a must-win round with absolutely fuck all on everybody else, Tech9s and Deagles, and the hero op on the Frenchman himself, ZywOo. And, listen, ZywOo is incredible with the rifle in his hands, but every time I see him use the op and do the shit he does in this round, I always think that, like, is he just, like, wasting everybody's time using the rifle? Because, like, him with the rifle is like watching Victor Wembanyama in the NBA pull up from the logo and drain a 3. Like, it's incredible, and it's honestly astonishing you're so talented at this aspect of the game. But at the same time, you know he would just dominate more if he just stayed under the post, just bury people in the basket. That's ZywOo with the op, because really, he is so transcendent with the op in his hands sometimes. This should not be a winnable round for Vitality, but ZywOo is enough with nothing to support him, just the big green. Furia get decimated, and it's the last time Furia are able to compete in a round pretty much the rest of this game. Like a switch flipped, and Vitality were just a different beast all the way to victory. Insane stuff. Next up, we had Spirit healing all of my wounds by decimating WildCard. Definitely a give and take one there for me. But listen, Spirit handled business here. 13-6 on Ancient, and Donk. And hey, Zontix and Shiro weren't awful. Wow, what a difference that makes. And Magix and Chomper weren't literally useless. Wow. Wish we could do that more often with Spirit, actually. That'd be kind of sick. For WildCard, listen, dude, just outgunned. What are you guys going to do against Donk when he has support? You know what I'm saying? After that, we had the Mongolz taking on Mouz, also on Mirage, and this was another banger. It went to overtime, and Mongolz yet again take down a tournament favorite, winning 16-13, which leaves Mongolz in the position to make it out of the elimination stage 3-0, which I have them going to the playoffs, but even I did not expect them to look this good early. And once again, it came down to their ability to just frag out of control in very timely spots. Mouz had match point on the second half, on the T side, 12-10. They had the Mongolz on absolutely no money, no nades, just rifles. But it just seemed to not matter for the Mongolz. They didn't need the nades. They're just ready to take duels, and more often than not, they have enough talent to win them, it seems. Mouz definitely played this round a little scared. They were very slow to take map control. They didn't punish the lack of utility on the Mongolz whatsoever, but even for all that, Jimmy and Torzi got them into position in a 2v1 with the bomb down, and then Techno comes through CT to win the 1v2, keep the game alive. They push it to overtime, and the Mongolz never look back. Certainly a winnable game for Mouz at the end of the day, and Brolin's definitely going to look back and hate this one. 9 for 21 for the game, went 4 for 10 on the second half, which is just ugly. Next up, we had G2 take out all of that pent-up frustration on Big on Mirage. 3 Mirage games in a row, really original, guys. 13-5. Big had literally no chance. Searson had a cool ace attempt that was denied early on by Snacks. Munacy made up for lost time with a 21-10 performance. Nico continues to look fantastic. And yeah, Big are outgunned by G2. In other news, the sun came out today, the birds are in the sky, and that sky is in fact blue, and the Earth may or may not be a globe. Our second to last map of the day was between 3D Max and Pain, where 3D Max edged out a close 13-11 victory on Dust 2, and this was a game I didn't catch live. It was very early in the morning, so going back and watching it in preparation for this video, I honestly come away with it with not much to say, because 3D Max are just not a team I rate very highly, and for Pain, it's kind of a bit of a nothing game. They were great on the CT side opening half, but their T side was just uncharacteristically slow, very timid. They weren't very engaged in taking map control, and it looked like they were just lacking a little bit of oomph, a little bit of firepower. Kind of the way that Furia was playing against Spirit earlier in the day. Usually you see that out of Pain, where Big Azar is leading the charge very confidently, but it just felt like they couldn't really get anything positively driving in that second half outside of Lux. They were really lacking firepower, and at the end of the day, they just bled too many rounds. They were, of course, 1 round short of pushing it to overtime, but 3D Max got the victory in the end. Honestly, a pretty boring game, if I'm being real. Which leaves us with the last match of the day between Faze and Heroic on Ancient. Once again, before we get any deeper, shout out to Rain. Once again, top fragging for Faze. Rain at Majors, it's a real thing. I just need to fact check it a little more, but God, he's so good when it matters most. But they did lose this game, and it boils down to a simple mistake towards the end of the second half, where Faze were in a good position to potentially at least make this comeback more real than it was. 11-8 scoreline. Heroic are coming into this round with literally nothing except for an op on Dexter, an MP9 in hand, and literally nothing else. They can't buy anything else. All Faze have to do is play around Dexter, keep things close, they could win this round, and the comeback gets a lot more interesting after the fact because of it. Instead, Faze decided to go straight into B with no forethought of where that op might be. And I think they simply just make the wrong call here. I think they should be playing slow around mid-control, maybe trying... Oh my god, excuse me. Them Diet Cokes during recording really sneak up on you. I'm leaving it in. Anyways, I think FaZe need to slow this round down a lot more than they did. As soon as Dexter gets this first pick with the op, they need to realize he's there, they need to go elsewhere, they need to work the round. Instead, FaZe continued to go into B side. Dexter gets a triple kill, which is a great play from him. Really, he shouldn't have got the third kill at all. But that softens FaZe up for Tessus to finish the job with the MP9. That gives them match point, which essentially ends the game for FaZe. It was just a weirdly bad call from Kerrigan. They should not have followed up after that first pick at all, and it cost them. Heroic played a great game. Nothing really else to add. And that brings us to the end of day 1 of the elimination stage of the Perfect World Major in Shanghai. Tonight, we have the rest of the best of ones and our first advancement games, and of course our first elimination games. I will be live on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/LionHeartZ2, live streaming, co-streaming, watching and reacting to all the action tonight. So make sure you drop on by and drop me a follow, and keep an eye out for my recap tomorrow about all the shenanigans going on throughout the duration of the major. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to my channel members, Justin, Jesse, Furley, Milan Berta, Bubblesj, and Dr. Cocktor. If you want to become a channel member, you can do so in the link in the description down below. It supports me directly, so please consider doing it, and maybe I'll be able to speak better in my videos eventually. Also, join the community Discord. It's been a lot of fun. See you guys soon with another video. Peace.